the last days of the Roman Empire. This is, we laugh, but if I could talk out of turn for a second, there's a National Intelligence Council. Does a report for the...
There's no mic at all.
No, there's no mic. The National Intelligence Council does a report for every incoming president. I don't know if anybody else heard this story, where they predict what's going to happen over the next 15, 20 years, something like that. The report they have waiting for our incoming president is very different than the one they had for the last incoming president. Apparently, they have paid attention to what some of us have been noticing for a while. They say that in 20 years, or whatever it is, this time period they look at, they say the Western model, by that they mean the free market sort of model, will be no longer dominant. In the world, state capitalism will be ascendant. They're talking about the kind of thing you see in Russia and China. You know, the problem with that is we already have state capitalism. The government has always regulated the country, the economy in our country. It's just, the question is, who do they regulate it for? And so we see that with the bailouts, right? There's a lot of talk about bailing out certain people. The ACORN, Jobs and Justice, and some other folks have talked about a people's bailout, to bail out some of the rest of us, the Main Street as opposed to the Wall Street. And we need to talk about what we can do here locally in light of what's happening to our economy, what's bound to be happening in the next few years. And that's what we're here about. So tonight, Gene Vanderport actually had this bright idea quite a little while ago, and you know, some of us have been talking about it. If we could talk now for a little while we're eating, and then we'll have a couple of people who are going to give us some ideas about some things that we can talk about. But the main idea is for us to get together as people who, somebody said it's a community meal for people who give a damn. We're going to get together, friends, activists, talk about how we can work together, then we will have accomplished our mission. And I think there's a lot of good ideas in the room, and we want to have time for everybody to give us their ideas. And so eat for a few minutes, and then we'll come back, and Gene and some others are going to talk to us.
In the last week or two, as a staffer, I've had to deal with two members who are being evicted from their homes. Another accused of murder in a self-defense shooting. Hearing at the U of I how we're going to be facing hundreds of layoffs, how we can't keep people employed in the social service industry, we're going to be talking about a public service jobs program. It's hard to figure out how that's all going to happen. Our job tonight is to enjoy each other, share the food, share the friendship. Not get into all the details now, but begin thinking collectively how we can maybe come up with an event in a couple months that may be able to give us some projects and some hope. The thing that happened on November 4th was just the first step on the road to freedom. It was just an election. It was just a step. It's our job now to put the hope onto the pavements, the promises onto the pavements. That's our job. And so what we have in mind is a little opportunity here to introduce a subject and maybe begin a whole new movement. That's our hope. I also want to say I know this hope is alive right here in this room because we just elected one of the best pro-labor people ever to the county board, and that's Carol Amons, who takes the oath of office. Feels to be brief.
Yes.
To talk a little bit about the mission statement we came up with a couple weeks ago. It's very broad, but gives you a sense of where we're going here. How do we ride the storm out? How do we come up with ways collectively, right here, to help each other out? In an immediate sense, in terms of helping somebody know who to go to when they're facing Wells Fargo Bank and there's nobody in that courtroom with you. How do we put some groceries on people's tables when the food pantries are closed every other week because there's not enough food. Now, what do we do next to create some jobs in this community? How do we stop jobs from being lost when they don't need to be? We got a $4 billion industry over here talking about layoffs, go figure. We demanded the other day that we use the luxury boxes for the homeless, except on a game day. But those, we have to become creative here.
That's a concept. I hadn't heard that before. I like that.
Site, our own backyard. It starts here, it ends here. Our hope is here. It's in each of us. It's in our future to make this thing happen.